Hi guys, welcome back. So I know we've been talking about interviews for the past few weeks. Today we're going to talk about entry requirements, and I know some of you have been asking me the entry requirements that you need to get into a master's degree. Today's video is going to be all about the entry requirements for a counselling degree, a master's degree and a PhD, so stay tuned. At the end of the video I will have some important information, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. So let's get straight into it with a counselling degree. What are the entry requirements for you to be accepted onto a counselling degree? So the first entry requirement that I see across the universities is that you must have at least 2 A-levels. Of course, if you've got 3 or 4, that's even better. So in different variations, a BBC, AAB, whatever it may be, 2 A's, maybe an A and a B, as long as you've got at least 2 A-levels, that increases your chances of being accepted onto the course. Whatever grades you've got from your A-levels, they must be equivalent to something between 104 to 180 UCAS tariff points. So I don't know how you calculate that, but I'm sure your sixth form or your college can tell you all about that. If you don't have A-levels, not all hope is lost. You can have a BTEC extended diploma or a diploma, and that can also increase your chances of being accepted. Of course, you need to have your DBS, so if you haven't already got a DBS, you need to apply for that so that they can do a DBS check before they accept you onto the course. So you also need to make sure you've got your GCSEs in the bag, so you need to have Maths and English at a minimum of a grade C or grade 4 level, so make sure you've got those 2 most important GCSEs. So once you've got all of those and once you've been accepted, you'll have to pass the fitness to practice once you're at the interview with the university that you've chosen. However, some universities say that if you don't have any of those entry requirements but you really do want to do a counselling degree, what you can do is opt to do a psychology degree with a foundation year to prepare you then to do the counselling degree after you finish that. Of course, if you're not sure, you can contact the university that you're interested in going to and see what they say. Now onto the master's degree. So in order to be accepted, one of the entry requirements is that you need to have an undergraduate degree with a minimum of a 2-1. In some circumstances they will accept a 2-2 if you've got other things that add on to your knowledge, maybe like a diploma or work experience. Another requirement is that you have a DBS so that they can do your DBS check, and if you pass it, then of course that's great, then you'll increase your chances of being accepted. Most universities will ask you to have a level 2 or level 3 counselling diploma. Obviously the higher the level of diploma, the more likely you are to be accepted. I think most universities do accept a level 3, but they may be a bit more lenient and accept a level 2. From my research, some universities don't even require you to have a counselling skills diploma, so be sure to double check with your university if they require it or not, so that you don't waste time and money getting a diploma that you might not necessarily need. The next entry requirement that you need to have is either voluntary or professional experience working with adults, maybe in mental health or in a hospital setting or in a helping setting such as a counselling placement or voluntary counselling placement working with a charity like Mind or the Samaritans or anything like that. So this is not a mandatory requirement, but this is something that will help your application to stand out. So if you have it, great. If you don't, then that's still fine. You can still apply and you can still be accepted even if you don't have that. You also need to have the ability to show that you're self-aware, reflective, and that you're willing to grow as a person. They will find this out through the interview and the way that you answer your questions. So you need to be able to show your ability to grow and evolve as a person, and how well you're able to reflect on your growth and your shortcomings and your strengths and everything in between. So that's also really important. Next, onto the doctorate/PhD. These are the entry requirements that you need. Of course, number 1 is your DBS check. Make sure you have your DBS if you don't have it, because they will need to do that before they can accept you onto the course. You also need to have your graduate membership with a BPS. So this is different to the regular one. There is a specific one for graduates, so make sure you apply for the graduate one as well. That's a different one. You need to have an undergraduate degree with a minimum of a 2-1 or something equivalent to that. However, they will accept you with a 2-2 if you have an extra qualification that will help boost your application. So don't worry if you don't have a degree with a 2-1 or a first class. If English is not your first language, you will have to do a test and you need to get a score of a 7. I don't know what that means, but all the university websites that I checked do have a very good description of what is that they expect of you when they ask you to do that English language test. so be sure to read up on that and you'll be fine. The next requirement is that you have a counselling skills diploma. However, this may not be necessary if you have lots of other work experience in counselling already, so this is a maybe. Obviously double check with the university. The next entry requirement is your ability to do research at doctorate level. So they will ask you to submit a research proposal in the application to show that you're capable of planning and executing a research proposal. The last entry requirement is that you need to have experience with face-to-face counselling. So this has to be more than just shadowing, befriending people, or working with a telephone hotline. So the things that you can do instead of that is maybe working as an assistant psychologist, a wellbeing practitioner, a support worker, a counsellor, or a trained healthcare professional. However, in order for this to even be relevant, you must have done it for a continuous period of 6 to 12 months before your application. So if you're applying and you've only been doing it for 5 months, you have to wait until you've done it for at least 6 months before you apply. So that is like the last entry requirement. So just remember that if you're not sure of anything, you can call or email the university that you're interested in and double check with them if you're not sure about something, because as much as I did this research, I don't know what every single university requires, and you'd be surprised that some universities will be flexible. They might not have as many applicants that year, so they'll be able to accept you even with lesser qualifications and requirements. So don't be afraid to ask and reach out to the university that you want to apply for and see if they will accept you with what you've got. And if you are planning on applying for the masters, be sure to watch the video that I did on the universities that are accredited in the UK that you can apply to this year. So good luck and see you in the next video. Bye.